Good evening. Hello, I am Rena Moran, Ramsey County Commissioner Budget Chair. I represent District 4, which includes parts of Union Park, Hamlin Midway, Frogtown, Summit U, North End, Downtown, Summit Hill, McAllister Groveland, and Highland Park. On behalf of my colleagues on the board and the Ramsey County staff here this evening, I'd like to welcome you to the 2026-27 Truth in Taxation public hearing. We want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today to share your comments. We appreciate your feedback, and we also appreciate the feedback community has shared at our previous public hearing on September 22nd, as well as comments that have been sent to commissioners by email and to the Chief Clerk office. We have and will continue to review all community feedback very carefully. For tonight's public hearing, we will start with a very brief presentation from County Manager Lean Becker. Then we will open the public hearing for comments. But first, a few logistical items before we begin. If you need to use the restroom, they are located in the hallway outside the boardroom to your right. Tonight we are joined by Hmong, Karen, Oromo, Somali, and Spanish interpreters. If you would like to request an interpreter and have not done so already, please visit the welcome check-in desk just outside this room. So tonight's meeting is being broadcast live and being recorded. It will be posted on the county website for official public record. I'd like to take a moment to ask each of my fellow colleagues here to take some time to introduce yourself. And so why don't we start here and we'll just go around.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, folks. I'm Ramsey County Commissioner Mai Chong Zhang. I represent District 6, most of the east side of St. Paul.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tara Jevon Singh. I'm Ramsey County Commissioner for District 1. Those are the northern suburbs, including Arden Hills, Mounds View, Shoreview, Vadnais Heights, Gem Lake, North Oaks, White Bear Township, and parts of Blaine and Spring Lake Park.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Garrison McMurtry, Ramsey County Commissioner for District 3, representing mostly northern St. Paul neighborhoods, including St. Anthony Park, Hamlin Midway, Como, North End, Frogtown, and as far east as Payne Phelan. I also represent the city of Falcon Heights.
Bonjour, everyone. Kelly Miller, Ramsey County Commissioner representing District 7, which includes Maplewood, North St. Paul, and White Bear Lake.
Rafael Ortega, District 5, which includes most of Highland, most of Mac Grove, West 7th, downtown, West Side, and near East Side.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite folks to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, let's see here. All right. I will now invite Commissioner Zong to do the land acknowledgement.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a land acknowledgement. We read this at all of our board meetings and our public meetings to ground us in the space that we are in. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land since time immemorial. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and the other nations of people who also call this place home. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by the tribal nations that entitle non-Native people to live and work on traditional Native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on. I invite our County Manager, Lee Becker, to the podium for a brief presentation before we open the meeting for public comment.
All right. Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners, members of the public. My name is Ling Becker, and I am the Ramsey County Manager. Ahead of the public comment period tonight, I'm going to provide some highlights and context of the 26-27 biennial budget. I'd like to start by saying that Ramsey County collects taxes on behalf of other jurisdictions. This board's taxing authority applies only to part of a property's tax bill. 36 cents of every dollar collected by the county supports county services, while the remaining 64 cents collected is distributed to other taxing districts, including the city and school district within which you live. As an organization, Ramsey County, we are committed to excellence in service. We're driven by our community and we're focused by the unique needs of our residents. Ramsey County is the most diverse county in the state of Minnesota. We are strengthened by the rich mix of cultures and the experiences of those who live here. We serve nearly 550,000 residents, being the second largest county in the state, with needs as varied as the communities from which they come from. We also have nearly 4,000 dedicated employees who deliver essential county services to our community every day. Our work is guided by 4 county-wide goals. Those are well-being, opportunity, prosperity, and accountability. I'd like to share this slide, which has some pictures of our staff doing work, and it really is Ramsey County by the numbers. And so to give folks a little context, our Parks and Recreation Department manages 9 county parks, 6 regional trails, 4 golf courses, 11 arenas, 9 public beaches, a water park, a nature center, a winter recreation area, a turf field house, and special use areas. Our Public Works manages and maintains 693 miles of county roads, 67 bridges, 30,000 signs, 10,000 drainage structures, and more than 360 traffic signals. Our 911 call center serves the entire Ramsey County, all of our municipalities. It is the largest in the state of Minnesota. We handle nearly 1 million emergency and non-emergency calls and texts per year. Our elections office ran 6 elections, including 3 special elections, across 148 polling locations, 5 early voting locations with the support of 1,250 election judges this year. And our library served over 1.4 million residents this year. The 2026-27 budget aligns county resources with our most critical community needs. It's been a difficult budget, but it is a budget of responsible choices. It includes difficult but necessary staffing and service reductions to maintain long-term fiscal health for our organization and community. Our focus remains on protecting and sustaining our core county services that we are required to provide to our residents and that they rely on every day. We have 3 key budget drivers in this budget. The first is there are changes in federal and state funding that shift more responsibility to counties. In addition, investing in our employees is a driver so that we have the staff needed to support our residents and to meet the needs that they have from their county level government. And lastly, there has been a growing demand for county core services that our residents rely on every day. It is important to note that we carry out much of this work in partnership with nonprofit organizations and partners in our community. When working in partnership, we provide oversight and funding, recognizing that these organizations are able to oftentimes reach residents more effectively and efficiently than the county can do alone. Let me provide you an example. We recently just opened up 3 warming spaces through our community partners. The county provides the funding, and our community partners or nonprofits provides the space to ensure that our residents have a safe place to stay overnight during these extreme cold days. Ramsey County faces unique fiscal pressures that are not shared equally by other area metro counties, and it requires careful and responsible budgeting. Nearly 14% of our property in Ramsey County is tax exempt. This is the highest portion among all metro counties. It reduces our tax base that supports our local services. As a fully developed county, urban county, we cannot rely on growth or new development to expand revenue the way that other counties can. These structural realities increase the county's reliance on property taxes, and it intensifies our fiscal pressures, which include the growing demand of essential services by our residents every day, the state and federal mandates that come without full funding to support them, and a tax equalization system in the county program aid that does not distribute resources fairly across all counties in the state. Over the past decade, Ramsey County has exercised extreme fiscal restraint, keeping levies growth moderate while meeting rising service demands. As you can see in the slide, over a 5- and 10-year average, Ramsey County has been the second lowest in property tax increases in the metro area. 2026 is a year of higher property taxes amongst all counties throughout the metro and statewide. Here is a respective proposed maximum tax levies of the surrounding metropolitan counties. This next slide shows where the county dollar comes from. Property taxes is the largest single source of funding for Ramsey County. After that, we received intergovernmental revenue, which is our state and federal funding, which makes up a big share of our next set of revenues. This also includes our county program aid. The 2026-27 budget continues to seek ways to diversify our funding streams and to work on reducing our reliance on property taxes. Examples include more strategic budgeting and capturing more human services funding from the state wherever we can. In addition, we are continuing to support a grants office in the hopes of improving our strategic pursuit of additional grant funding to fund many of our services. This slide shows where the county dollar goes. As you can see, almost half of our funds goes to public health and human services. In addition, 20% of our funding goes to public safety. 17% of our funding goes to transportation, parks, libraries, economic development. And you can see the other remaining pie slices there. This slide provides an overview of our biennial budget. The county's budget for 2026 is proposed to be $929,256,000. This is a 6.5% increase over the previous year, with a proposed levy increase of 9.75. In addition, listed here are also our 2026 regional rail and housing and redevelopment authority levies. We are taking steps to lower the 2026 property tax levy. On September 23rd, 2025, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners adopted a 2026 maximum property tax levy of 9.75%. The board directed myself to identify additional options to further reduce the levy before its final adoption. On November 4th, 2025, the board held addenda workshops focused on lowering the property tax general levy through 3 approaches. The first, budget shifts, lowering the levy by reallocating levy-funded activities to alternative funding sources. Oftentimes, that reduces the flexibility that local governments have in spending those resources to serve our community. We also looked at additional revenues and funding, reducing the levy through identification and application of new funding sources. And lastly, additional reductions, decreasing levy-supported investments within the budget. All of these have trade-offs and impacts on our community as we continue to work on reducing the levy. These steps reflect the board's commitment to responsible budgeting and to minimizing the impact on taxpayers at a unique time of all our budget drivers while maintaining essential county services. The public can expect additional reductions will be reflected in the final proposed 2026 levy. Lastly, I'd like to give a quick overview over the timeline and the milestones that we've been moving through to adopt this budget. As you can see, this budget started on September 2nd when I presented it to the county board. Many things have happened since then. Tonight, we are here for our truth and taxation hearing, and we'll hear from our residents and our property owners. And then the county board will approve the 2026-27 Ramsey County budget and property tax levy on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, County Manager Becker. Just wanted to thank you for being so transparent about the work that we do, the pressures to deliver and support residents in Ramsey County, while also listening to the Board of Commissioners to find ways to reduce the levy. Really appreciate the hard work. Before I turn the public hearing over to this evening moderator, Mike Lindsay, I would like to mention that in a public hearing format, we as elected officials, we listen closely to your testimonies, but we will not respond directly to questions or comments. This is due to the unique format of a public hearing. We acknowledge that this may be challenging. Our intention is to hear from everyone that is signed up to share their testimony. Please know we have multiple staff in the room taking detailed notes, and the meeting is being recorded. So we will not only listen to you present to us, but we will go back and review the detailed notes following the meeting. We'll also be continuing to review all the comments provided to us through our Commissioner's Office and the Chief Clerk Office. Your feedback is extremely important to us. We greatly value you taking the time to share it with us. So, with that, I would now invite Mr. Lindsay to share the rest of the logistics and open for comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair, County Manager Becker, and Commissioners. As mentioned, tonight is a public hearing, and in a hearing format, you are providing public testimony for the record. Each person who would like to make a comment will have up to 3 minutes to address the commissioners. Our Chief Clerk, Jason Yang, seated to my left, will notify our speakers when they have 30 seconds remaining, and again when their time is up. I will also give kind of a soft audio reminder when you're at 30 seconds and when your time is up. There is also a timer on the podium that will turn red as your time expires. We will go in order of those who signed up in advance to speak tonight, followed by folks who signed up here on site. If you have not signed up but would like to speak, there's still time to sign up at our welcome and registration table just outside these chambers near the elevators. You can sign up at any time tonight. If you prefer not to speak at the microphone, you can fill out a comment card at that same welcome and registration table, and your comment will be added to the official public record and shared with commissioners after the meeting. But we won't read it aloud tonight. If you haven't attended a hearing before, it is unique, as our budget chair mentioned. The commissioners are here to listen closely to your testimony, but they will not be responding to your comments directly. We recognize that that can be frustrating, and we have additional resources here tonight to assist you with specific questions. If you have questions about your individual property valuation, staff from our assessor's office are available to assist you. Stop by that same welcome and registration table near the elevators, and they have a table in the hallway just a little closer to one of the city offices on the same floor. General questions and themes from tonight's commentary will be answered following the hearing. We'll post those on our website at ramseycountymn.gov/budget. When it's your turn to speak, please state your name and your city of residence as you begin. While providing public testimony, we ask that speakers be respectful and refrain from using language that may be harmful to others. Remember that your testimony is part of the official public record. When it's your turn, we'll have you step up to the central microphone here where our county manager also presented. And in addition to the next speaker, I will also call the next 2 or 3 names so that folks have got time to start making their way towards the front. And I'll have you kind of queue up or form a small line at this pillar here to my right. Having reviewed all of that, let's get started. The public hearing for the 2026-2027 budget is now open. And our first speaker is Martha Grussing, followed by Anton Krykuk and Susan Miller. So Martha, if you're here, we'll give you a moment to step forward, please. Seeing no movement just yet, I'm going to call a few more names on the list. Again, if Martha Grussing is here, please step forward. The next person is Anton Krykuk, followed by Susan Miller. Continuing down the list, Samuel Thompson. I see some folks stepping forward. Susan, come on up. Before you begin, Susan, I'll read just a couple of more so we can keep moving somewhat efficiently. Samuel Thompson, Chris Beltman, Julie Carmine are our next speakers. And Susan, your time will begin right now.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Susan Miller. I live in the city of North Oaks. As you can see, I'm here to support the libraries, and I came to comment on the role that the libraries play in the social cohesion of our county. I have lived in Ramsey County since I was a tiny tot. In all that time, I have never lived next door to someone who was not just like me. I was educated with people just like me. In my professional life, easily 95% of the people I worked with were the same race, the same educational attainment, and the same income. The fact that I have not lived a life entirely siloed with my own racial and economic peers is due in no small measure to the fact that I happen to love libraries. I've met Turkish immigrants in knitting groups sponsored by one of your libraries. I volunteer in a used bookstore where a man from Senegal approached me once asking for, of all things, a Chinese English dictionary. What followed was a fascinating discussion about the reach of China in North Africa. I've shared a giggle in the cookbook aisle with a young girl in a burqa, because it turns out she was looking for the same cookbooks I was. And then there are the homeless, the emotionally distressed, who, God forgive me, I usually experience with irritation when they're begging from me at a stoplight. But in the library, I experience them in their humanity, as people that just want a comfortable place to read or get a decent internet connection, just like me. Inclusion isn't really created by admonishing people about its virtue. It grows organically in the public spaces that we, the people, through you, our representatives, create. Places like libraries. The best way to foster a county where a 66-year-old white lady and a Turkish immigrant and a man from Senegal and a girl in a burqa
30 seconds.
and the homeless can experience themselves as one people is to treat our libraries as an essential service and fund it accordingly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next few names on our pre-registered list are Samuel Thompson, Chris Beltman, Julie Comine, and Udoka Afwedo. I think you're next up.
All right.
Just a reminder to state your name and city of residence as you start your time. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Comine. I live in St. Paul. I've been a Ramsey County resident since 2017, which was also the year I started working for the Ramsey County Library. So you're going to get 2 library speeches in a row here. I am here tonight in solidarity with our staff, our volunteers, our members of the Friends organization. I'm also wearing my AFSCME Council 5 t-shirt, so I'm here in solidarity with all the workers throughout the county. I'm grateful for the opportunity to give public feedback. I'm especially grateful for Commissioner Miller and Commissioner Judman Singh, who have been having open office hours at the libraries for the past several months, and that means a great deal to our residents. Last month, the Library Friends Board of Directors sent you a letter detailing cuts to the budget at the libraries. Approximately 5 full-time equivalent positions will go unfilled. We are not cutting any current staff, which we are very grateful for. But those 5 full-time equivalent positions being cut, which will include our entire substitute budget of both reference and circulation staff, will make a significant impact at our libraries, which are always very leanly staffed to begin with. One of the really concerning and important points that the Friends made in their letter to you was that our staffing levels are lower than they were 25 years ago, and also lower than the state average overall. I know this is a time of a fiscal crisis for county governments, for state governments, for a lot of reasons. And I know that you're doing your best to be respectful stewards of tax dollars, and to use a phrase that Tara used, to mitigate the harm to our residents and to our workers. But Susan just said this is also a time of a human crisis. The erosion of our social fabric in our communities is real. Both the political climate that we live in, the collective trauma that we're all still carrying from the pandemic, from the increased reliance on technology that so many people do not have access to or cannot afford. The library could be doing so much more for people if we had our full budget. We could be doing so many more programs, so much more outreach, so much more help for basic literacy for our residents. And I know the county is committed to building safe and empowered and inclusive communities, but I think there are few places where residents feel as included and feel that they can walk in the door and talk to a human being.
You're at time.
To ask for help. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next list of pre-registered speakers are Udoka Afuero, Joseph Crow, Jessica Gould, and Jeff Vance. I see at least one person stepping forward here, so we'll just give a moment. What's your name, sir?
Joe Crow.
Joe, why don't we have you start next? And for those who are queuing up, right by that pillar would be great. Thank you.
My name is Joe Crow. I live in White Bear Lake, District 7. I want to thank Chair Ortega and the commissioners for the chance to speak tonight. I believe in paying my taxes to support my community and funding our goals as a county to strengthen individual, family, and community health, safety, and well-being, and to enhance access to opportunities and mobility for all residents and businesses. I support the budget that Ramsey County has proposed, while at the same time acknowledging the pain that I and other Ramsey County resident taxpayers experience. But I see few, if any, alternatives for the county when federal reimbursements for services that the county is obligated to provide have been slashed by Congress in the big budget bill. How can people who rely on Medicaid for healthcare supports continue to get the medical attention they need if the county does not find a way to continue the program? How can people who rely on SNAP for food supports continue to get what they need to survive if the county does not find a way to get what they need to provide that assistance? We are talking about the youngest, the oldest, and the most vulnerable people in our communities. I'm frustrated to know that Ramsey County has to do the hard and time-sensitive work to adjust the budget in a way that addresses the terrible consequences of the federal bill. I'm grateful to Ramsey County's city manager and the commissioners for the work you are doing. To the people who are upset when their property taxes increase look to Congress as the source of our pain. Tell them to repeal these damaging provisions of their budget bill and give us some relief. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jessica Gould, followed by Jeff Vance, followed by Mary Jo Malicha, and then Courtney Billing.
Hi, I'm Jess Gould. I'm a resident of North St. Paul. I moved to Ramsey County specifically to work at the library from out of state. And I'm here as both a resident and a children's librarian for the libraries to speak about the proposed budget reductions for Ramsey County Library. Under the current proposal, the library would lose its entire substitute staffing budget, reduce overall staffing by multiple full-time hours, and close one of the busiest branches on Fridays. These changes mean stressed out employees, fewer programs, fewer services, and reduced public access to one of the most trusted resources in our community. Most residents don't know that these cuts are planned, but the impacts will be immediate and visible. At the White Bear Library, my branch, we already operate at the bare minimum. In the year that I've worked there, our branch has only been fully staffed for a handful of weeks. In the 6 months alone, we've lost a 0.2 full-time reduction, or absorbed a 0.2 reduction, and continue to have a 0.8 vacancy. I was hired as a part-time employee at 64 hours under the understanding that I could work substitute shifts to get up to 80 hours. And that will be eliminated starting in January. Sorry. Without substitutes, the burden falls entirely on our staff to rearrange our schedules just to keep the libraries open. It means choosing to come to work sick or cancel programs or ask our colleagues to swap nights, knowing that that messes up their childcare or their second jobs. Many staff feel uncomfortable with this, and it doesn't reflect our county's values for equity, well-being, and respect. We are already so thinly staffed. There are many days each month at multiple branches where we take our unpaid breaks on site because leaving the building would mean we drop below our minimum staffing levels. I want to emphasize that we're doing all that we can in our power to help ourselves. We're increasing revenue when appropriate. We're raising rental book fees. We're extremely intentional with our spending, but libraries cannot ethically generate significant revenue, and the reductions of this scale harm literacy, youth services, community connection, and access to essential information. Throughout the pandemic, library staff has served our communities in person while many other departments have remote options, and we're proud of our service. We remain committed to our mission, and we ask that the county's budget reflect the same commitment. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, I believe, is Jeff Vance. And Jeff, before you begin, the next in our list are Mary Jo Malicha, Courtney Billing, Andrew Irvin, and then Caroline Mena. Jeff, your time begins.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Vance. I'm from White Bear Lake. I bought a house, an older house, in 2001. I was going to do some exterior and interior renovations. Lo and behold, to find out the house had to come down to the foundation. Didn't make it any bigger, just had to rebuild it. Taxes, when I bought the house, they were at $4,900. That was good for 2 years. Once the house was assessed, they went up to $8,000, which was quite a shock, trying to balance that out. Year after, they went up to $9,500, and now this year, they're proposed to be $11,000, $12,000. So since I bought the house, these taxes have gone up 230%. In each year, when they assessed the house, it went up 61%. The following year was 19%. And then from last year to this year, it's 23%. At this rate, I'm getting taxed right out of the house, and I'm not even on the water. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mary Jo Malecha, followed by Courtney Billing.
Good evening. My name is Mary Jo Malika. I live in New Brighton in District 2. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. It may be a cliche, but I believe that paying taxes is the price we pay for living in a civilized society. Because this is my belief, I don't typically complain about paying my taxes. I know that my taxes support our community and pay for basic services that Ramsey County residents need and depend on. I want our parks and recreational facilities to be maintained, our streets to be safe, food insecurity reduced, roads maintained and plowed in the winter, our veterans to be connected to benefits and 911 calls answered promptly. Taxes make all of this possible. Everyone, no matter what they look like, which zip code they live in, or how they pray, deserves to live in a community where they and their family can thrive. That's why I continue to be very angry about the One Big Beautiful Bill, which was passed by the majority in Congress and signed by the President on July 4th. It's a cruel new law that will lead to massive cuts in SNAP and Medicaid benefits that our county works so hard to provide. The cuts force Minnesota county governments who want to continue these programs to raise revenue through basically the only real means they have available to them, which is property taxes. I don't blame our Ramsey County Board of Commissioners for the increase in property taxes. I'm sure it was an extremely difficult decision, but what other choice did you have? We still need to fund our county services, even if the current federal government, would rather give tax cuts to billionaires than make sure our safety nets programs are funded. In closing, I want to express my appreciation for the diligent work that the Ramsey County Commissioners do, including my own Commissioner McGuire. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for getting your last name wrong 3 times in a row. I'll get as many of them right tonight as I can. Courtney Billing is our next speaker, followed by Andrew Irvin.
Good evening. My name is Courtney Billing. I'm a resident of District 3, Falcon Heights, and I'm here tonight as both a concerned citizen and as a member of the Board of Directors of the Friends of the Ramsey County Library. Since 1979, the Friends have proudly partnered with Ramsey County to advocate for our library system and support all 7 library locations in making information, books, music, and programs available to the public. We know that you share our belief that the library is a place that promotes literacy and education and fosters community connection for all. We want to specifically commend Library Director Pang Yang for taking a thoughtful, equity-driven approach to manage the proposed reductions to the library's budget. By using the Social Vulnerability Index to guide these difficult choices, Director Yang and her team are working admirably to protect Ramsey County residents with the greatest needs. We are also relieved to hear that the current plan avoids immediate staff layoffs. However, even with the best strategic management, a cut is still a cut. While we understand the need for fiscal responsibility, we remain deeply concerned that a reduction of $590,000, representing just 0.06% of the county's budget, will restrict the library's ability to serve our growing Ramsey County community. Even without layoffs, eliminating nearly 5 full-time equivalent positions through attrition negatively impacts library services. Staff are the library's most vital asset. Reducing staff headcount will ultimately diminish the services offered to Ramsey County residents. The proposed cut will result in significantly fewer public programs, reduced classroom visits to kindergartners by librarians, and the Friday closure of the Shoreview Library, reducing public access by hundreds of hours each year. Currently, Ramsey County Library staffing levels per resident are already lower than Minnesota's average, despite being the 2nd most populous county in the state. Yet as our county grows and technology becomes more complex, our residents need more guidance and support to strengthen literacy, navigate job applications and healthcare systems, and access reliable information, not less. Research consistently shows that libraries are positively associated with community health and school success. They are one of the few public spaces that are universally used and trusted. On behalf of the Friends, we respectfully ask you to
30 seconds.
reconsider the cuts to the library. For a fraction of a percent of the county's budget, the library can keep its services strong and its doors open to all. We're very grateful for everything that you all do for Ramsey County and its residents. We look forward to finding a way to work together to keep the library fully funded for everyone in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. In a moment, our next speaker will be Andrew Irvin, and I'll invite folks on the remainder of our pre-registration list to step forward to the pillars here to my right. Those are Caroline Mena, Sebastian Stoss, Bernita Freeman, Channa Peters, and Thomas Biggs. Andrew, remember to give us your city of residence, and your time begins.
Yes. So, Andrew Irvin, and I live in the city of White Bear Lake. And Chair Moran and Commissioners, thank you so much for the opportunity to share my comments this evening. From my own career, I know the critical role that Minnesota counties play in the delivery of home and community-based services for individuals with disabilities so that they can live the most independent lives possible. Minnesota is a leader in providing these services, and especially Medicaid waiver programs. However, the federal OBA bill threatens the future of these services. While these services will continue, future levels of funding are at best uncertain. I know of individuals and their families who treasure these services and the ability to live the fullest lives possible. While the Ramsey County budget that we are focused on tonight does not include a line item for this threat to the lives of individuals with disabilities, I do support the goals of the budget to strengthen the county's ability to respond in the future through investments in county employees and better coordination across levels of government and with nonprofits. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sebastian Stoss, Circle Pines. My name is Sebastian Stoss, and I stood before you at the last public hearing in September. At that time, I put on the public record information received after numerous requests on non-governmental organization spending. Just a reminder, Ramsey County spent $38.4 million on 213 NGOs last year without any audits. Just for perspective, we asked Anoka County how much money goes to NGOs. It's only $592,000 in Anoka versus $38.4 million for Ramsey. After presenting to you in September, we kept digging and had the Minnesota State Audit Division tell us they are not auditing any NGOs that receive state or local monies, but only when federal money is involved. That is scary. How can you ask for more money from residents when the Property Tax Division has no clue where the money is going? A complete and thorough review of all expenditures from Ramsey County property tax should be completed before you raise taxes. This is the people's money, not yours. I'm here today to ask you to reject any property tax levy increase for 2026 until you first conduct and publicly release a comprehensive line-by-line review of all county expenditures, including every dollar going to non-governmental organizations that have never been competitively bid or independently audited. Year after year, this board has asked people to pay more while telling us the money is desperately needed. Yet when residents ask basic questions, how much are we spending, on exactly what, and with what measurable results, most importantly, the answers are too often vague or non-existent. In the proposed 2026 budget alone, Ramsey County plans to send tens of millions of dollars to outside nonprofits and NGOs. Many of these organizations have received county funds for years, sometimes decades, without ever going through an open request for proposal processes, and many have never had an independent financial audit with nothing being made public. That is not transparency. That is not accountability. That is a blank check written on the backs of the homeowners who are already struggling with double-digit property tax increases over the past 5 years. Instead of spending this money on NGOs, why aren't you spending more money on school safety? It would cost about $6 million to install state-of-the-art metal detectors in every Ramsey County public school. Additionally, why haven't you created a county auditor position so at least someone in the county can investigate the audits and audits the organizations you give money to? Commissioners, we are simply asking you to do what every struggling family in this country has to do right now. Look at every expense, cut what isn't essential or isn't working, and prove where the money is going before asking for more. Please, for once, put taxpayers first. Vote no on any property tax increase until this basic homework is done and shared with the people who pay the bills. If not, you should all be voted out of office. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you Carolyn? Thank you. Our next speaker will be Carolyn Mena.
Oh, no, I'm Shauna Peters.
Oh, Shauna, we'll have you start in just a moment. If Thomas Biggs or Benita Freeman or Caroline Mena are here, we'll have them also queue up next to the pillars. But Shauna, your time begins. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Shauna Peters, and I'm a resident of Coon Rapids. My husband told me I probably shouldn't say it, but we were priced out of St. Paul when we first moved to Minnesota and bought our house in 2018. I come here today again to represent our detox program. It is still a vital safety net, and I am appalled at the information that has been made available to the public and that has been given to you as the commissioners. The data that has been put out, I can't find it. I don't know when it came from. I don't know where it came from. What I can tell you is I just spent my afternoon going through and seeing how many cases of us being contacted did we bill for, because that seems to be the language that the county wants to listen to. Last month, we billed for 96% of all contacts with us. For the individuals that were not billed, it's because they didn't show up. County Manager Becker, you have talked a lot about fiscal responsibility and being laser focused on one Ramsey County, centering on the residents and not county structures. Can you explain to this group, at any point in time, why then you've added more director positions and you are continuing to cut frontline workers? In talking to the people who have been with Ramsey County for decades, it felt like we were always meant to fail, and that it was meant to be a spectacular fall, that it would leave no doubt in this community that a 36-year-old safety net was of no use. Detox saves lives. It turns lives around, and we don't get to say when somebody is ready and able to make that change. There are 43 of us
Got about 30 seconds.
that are losing our job at the end of this month. Maybe half of us were offered other positions within the county. We were told time and again that we were being helped and supported during this challenging time of transition. We have received asinine internal job opportunities that none of us qualified for. And I really hope that you all actually paid attention to the meetings that we had with you and listened to the actual numbers that we were able to give you.
Thank you. I'm going to have our next speaker, Thomas Biggs, step up to the microphone here. But before I do, I want to give just kind of a general reminder of our process. Stephen, I do have you on the list. I've got about 13 names ahead of you, so we're still working our way to you in the order in which folks signed up here tonight. So Thomas will very likely be one of our last folks who signed up in advance of the meeting, and then I will work through the list of folks who signed up at our welcome table this evening. Thomas, your time begins. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Thomas Biggs. I'm a St. Paul resident. I'm grateful for your attention and the time here. I'm grateful to participate in a process where so many citizens are speaking so well about their concerns with the city. My wife and I moved into St. Paul 5 years ago. We're concerned about our property tax rate at the time. In the last 5 years, it's doubled. So I guess my primary expression of concern is about the rate of increase and the continued increase in our property taxes in a setting of declining city services. I don't think the continued reliance on property tax to fund city services or county coffers is sustainable. I think that's my primary concern. In more specifically, our assessors are not responsive to our concerns. We're confident that our home is overassessed relative to its value. 2 homes in our neighborhood in the last year have sold for substantially less than their assessed value. When we approach our assessor about that, the assessor is not responsive to our concerns. So, so I think I'm grateful that people are here and expressing their concerns about individual programs and policies, and I'm also sensitive to the fact that I don't think as a city and as a county the rate of continued increases in reliance on property taxes is sustainable. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Let me give a couple of very brief reminders, and then we will do one final call for folks who signed up here in person. We do have representatives from our county assessing office here with us this evening. If you'd like to connect with them, I'd recommend you step out to our welcome table out near the elevators, and they can direct you to connect with assessor here in person this evening. Let me run the list one last time for folks who signed up in advance. If any of these folks are here now or have perhaps joined us in the last half hour or so, please do step forward. Martha Grussing, Anton Krykuk, Samuel Thompson, Chris Beltman, Udoka Ufuedo, Caroline Mena, Benita Freeman. Anything happening behind me? No. Let's move then, please, to folks who signed up to speak in person tonight. Our first name is Antonia Trofla, followed by Pat Heverland. Is Antonia here? Pat? Thank you, Pat. You'll be up. After Pat, we will look for Beth Arthur.
Good evening, commissioners and fellow taxpayers. I am Pat Heverland, Marine Corps veteran, husband, father, and owner of Charles Cabinets in Roseville, a 71-year-old business that has survived recessions, inflation, supply chain crisis, and everything else thrown our way. In fact, there's a really good chance that there are people in this room that have Charles cabinets in their home. But the one thing we cannot survive is the thing that's supposed to support us, our own county government. I'm here tonight representing dozens of small businesses across Ramsey County, and we all have the same question. How much money is enough? I'm here tonight, the taxes on our business have gone up 46.87% in 9 years. We've been here 71 years, supporting people in this county. To put that in perspective, our small team works for 2/3 of the year just to pay property taxes. What this is telling small businesses, we don't care if you succeed or fail. In preparation for tonight, I learned that Ramsey County gave away $38.4 million in taxpayer dollars to 213 nonprofits. None of this happened with voter approval. And now large portions of that money are tied to fraud. Are you kidding me? Do you know how discouraging that is to a business owner like me? Do you know how much trust that destroys? And why is the county giving tax dollars to nonprofits at all? My wife and I donate to 4 charities because we chose them We vetted them, we did our homework, and we are responsible for that money. That's what we expect from our elected leaders. So here's what needs to happen. We need to stop giving away taxpayer money. We need to lower our property taxes by that same $38.4 million and return the decision-making power to the people who actually pay the bills, us taxpayers. I know what you're thinking. We can't do that. But the truth is, yes, you can. I love this country. I love this community, but love alone cannot keep a business alive. Taxes are rising at a rate in the marketplace the average taxpayer simply cannot sustain. If this trend continues, we and many other businesses will be forced to look at alternatives to Ramsey County, and that breaks my heart. But math is math. The good news is you folks have the power to fix it. You can restore trust. You can support the small businesses that support our tax base, our neighborhoods, our families, but it requires courage. It requires leadership. It requires finally saying enough is enough. Every taxpayer in this room deserves better. Please show us the leadership we've been waiting for and say enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Beth Arthur, followed by, sorry.
That's okay.
Followed by Tim David. Beth, your time begins.
Thank you. My name is Beth Artner. I'm the Town Board Supervisor for White Bear Township, and we had our levy voted down, and mostly because of the property tax increases. My own taxes increased $4,000 in 2 years. It's unsustainable, and I actually thought about it. You're actually inviting corporate landlords in to, buy up our houses because we can't afford to stay here anymore. For the first time, my husband said, maybe we should think about selling our house. People in our community in White Bear Township are talking about the same thing. It's not reasonable. And you've heard a lot of people talking about things you can get rid of, but there were some things that I thought of that you could probably do. Your Parks and Recreation Department is really a nightmare to deal with. They go in, they cut down trees. It's like we had a grove of evergreens. They came in, cut them down. We had U.S. Hockey Day. They wanted to use it for a backdrop, and the trees were gone. They never said a word. And it was on the property where the town hall is. Could they cut down trees all over, and I get calls from people using the parks wanting to know why, and apparently you need a prairie savanna. So the trees have to go. It infuriates people. And you can't work with your Parks and Recs department. Can you think about using resources with the bus service? The bus services don't seem to work. Can we try destination buses? The state fair is like one of the best bus routes that we've got going. Could we do more of that? When I listened to community living, and I think Mary Jo McGuire, you were there. Why do we need a bus route to Rosedale? It's millions of dollars. I mean, there are things that you could just see that were just insane. And there are things that you can cut, and it just, in 2008, when we all had to pull in our horns because our 401s were dying, there are things that you can cut that are extraneous. You don't need them. There's services that these poor people need, but there are other services that can certainly be cut. And a lot of these bus routes and bike routes need to go. We don't need them. You can get on your bike, you can ride anywhere. And when we asked about e-bikes, because they've become a real problem in a lot of places, you guys looked at us like deer in the headlight. They're a problem.
30 seconds.
Okay, and I'll drop right there, but it just seems like there's other areas you could look at without hitting these core services and making other people suffer. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tim David, followed by Karen Zumovan. Tim.
Yeah, Tim David, White Bear Township, Commissioners and Chair. Appreciate this opportunity. I'm in White Bear Township on the north edge of Ramsey County. Our township has a population of about 11,000 people. And our township just had its version of an annual budget hearing, just like this hearing last week. At that meeting, our township voted to reduce the tax levy increase from 8.29% to 7%. In our township form of government, the residents actually get to vote on the increase or decrease of the levy. So the residents in that meeting, just like this meeting, literally were able to raise their hands and vote to reduce the budget proposed by the board. Now, to Ramsey County, in 2025, Ramsey County will spend $929 million. Let's think about that number for a minute. That is almost $1 billion, $1 billion. So that means you seven, sorry to say, but you seven are essentially billionaires. And that money you spend is essentially the money that we send you through multiple taxing methods. I would ask that Ramsey County needs to evaluate every program that spends our nearly $1 billion and determine if that program or service is producing the results it should be producing. Amen. Is that program or service, is it necessary? Is it nice to have, or is it a must have? Is it core to what the county should be doing? And if it is not core to what the county should be doing, and it's not performing the results it should perform, its funding needs to be reduced or eliminated and reduce the budget by that amount. I would ask the county to stop increasing taxes at a 9.7% rate and stop spending year after year and expect we will continue to pay you nearly $1 billion. We ask that you show accountability, real accountability to us taxpayers, show us some real cost cutting, show us some transparency that services and programs that we do pay for are core services and are producing the results for the dollars that we send you. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Karen Zumovin, followed by Brian Dobble. Karen.
Hi, it's Karen Zumullen. I live in Maplewood.
Sorry.
Thank you for your time. I moved into Maplewood in 2017, but I only went back as far as 2019. From 2019 to 2025, we had a 65% increase. My jaw dropped seeing that, but tonight it fell even farther once we heard a 230% increase from the gentleman to my right. My thought process backs up Sebastian's great speech here tonight. I thank you for reducing the levy, but I'm here to encourage you to continue to reduce the levy to absolutely zero. Our property taxes are supposed to go to our public schools, our local governments, our police, fire, emergency services, public infrastructure, our parks and rec, our libraries, public health and social services, and debt services. Debt services meaning repayment of bonds issued for public projects, schools, roads. Also, the public health and social services aspect is your local health departments, clinics, and sanitation, sometimes community housing or welfare programs. Much like the lady that spoke, two people in front of me, there's many things that can be cut from this budget. And I encourage you to continue to make those cuts because taxpayers of Ramsey County are tired of bleeding. We are all bleeding and we are all footing the bill. And I don't think any of the actual people footing the bill are receiving any services whatsoever, other than your police officers, which I've never called the police. I just haven't. So I haven't rendered any of those services. Public schools, I have 0 children. I have no problem paying for the public schools. It's a great, education's wonderful. I fully support that. No problem paying for that. No problem paying for our local government. But what I do have a problem paying for is when you look at your housing stability under economic growth, and we're paying $13 million for housing stability. I think that needs to be audited and severely scrutinized. I'm sorry, $13 million, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And with all the fraud that's going on, it needs to be audited and we need to see where all those dollars are going. That also brings me to your health and wellness part of the budget.
30 seconds.
Let's see, financial assistance services in the tune of $36 million. Financial assistance services. I'm sorry, when I need a loan, I go to a bank. Everyone goes to a bank. So financial assistance, how, let's elaborate. Social services, $135 million. That's only supposed to go for clinics, sanitation, and health departments. 135 million. There's a lot to be cut. And I would like to let you know, I am a double major in accounting and finance. I've been a commodities trader for over 20 years. I will personally give you my time free of charge to audit all of these budget items. So please contact me and I will do it for free.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Brian Dobble, followed by Greg Blees. Is Brian here?
Hello, Brian Dobie.
Thank you.
And I am a resident in McAllister-Groveland, 56-year resident. I live in McAllister-Groveland with my wife and 7 children. And, you know, we about 15 years ago, we were faced with as a growing family, do we add on or do we look for another house somewhere else? We decided to add on, and I've only learned recently that was probably the biggest mistake we could make, because making an investment in our home and in our community only skyrocketed our taxes. So my taxes for 26, $12,400. 25, $11,250. 24, $9,700. I won't go back further than that, but that's a 28% increase in 2 years. 28%. I don't see that on my paycheck. You know, families have to make that up. And you know, as many people said, we do the hard things when we're faced with budget. We look at all of our spending. And we adapt and cut things out and sacrifice. And I think that's what needs to happen. I'm all for paying my fair share of essential services. So I think the key is there, essential services. A lack of focus on core essential services. That's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to the basics of what the government is here to do, provide for essential services, including the library. Thank you, library representatives. Including our police force. Right now we have safety, public safety is threatened. Crime is up, our crumbling infrastructure around, and all of that, I want to say, it results in a condition, an environment where this is not that in addition to the taxing environment for our small businesses. Thank you. We are forcing people out. We're forcing businesses out. And guess what? When we force the businesses out, we force the tax dollars out. And guess who gets to fund that? Me. And these guys. And that is not sustainable.
You're at time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Greg Blees, who will begin in just a moment, followed by Ethan Warren, and then Dan Cloak. Greg?
Good evening. My name is Greg Blees. I live on the east side of St. Paul. I've been there for 73 years of my life. I'm representing Insight St. Paul, a non-political citizens group concerned with St. Paul's extremely high property taxes and sales taxes. Thank you, Ramsey County Commissioners, for using constraint when certifying property tax levies. A spreadsheet has been distributed that compares Ramsey tax data to the other 6 metro counties. Between 2020 and 2025, Ramsey had the smallest increase in tax levies. But most alarming, Ramsey still has the highest county tax rate for the 7 metro counties. High taxes may help contribute to why Ramsey had the smallest growth rate for both population and households between 2020 and 2024. Ramsey's proposed 9.8% levy increase is almost 4 times the current 2.5% inflation rate. Insight St. Paul knows that Ramsey County's property tax levy accounts for about 30% of the St. Paul property owner's property tax bill. For your information, the Minnesota Revenue Department's property tax data displays payable 2025 property tax facts for the 165 cities in the 7-county metro area. That data reveals the effective tax rate for St. Paul's average value residential home is 1.56%. Wow. For the 10 largest metro cities, St. Paul had the highest effective tax rate, 2025. A second spreadsheet has been distributed which compares St. Paul's payable 2025 tax data to the 10 largest metro cities. St. Paul's average valued homestead has an estimated market value of $333,000 with a total tax bill of $5,195. By comparison, a same value homestead in Blaine tax is only $3,530. It's 47% more in St. Paul for the same value home. Commissioners, please reduce the 2026 levy. Recently, the Port Authority gave you some extra money from Tax Increment District 851. Use that. Thank you.
Thank you. In a moment, our next speaker will be Ethan Warren, followed by Dan Cloak. Just for our common awareness, I do have about 15 or 16 more folks registered to speak, so please do stick with us, and we will call you accordingly. Ethan.
My name is Ethan. I am a nurse at the Ramsey County Detox. I've been a nurse for 15 years, mostly contract work. I will say that the team we have there is amazing, doing amazing work. I did want to address 2 people here. Alex is not here, but Lynn, you are here, and I think it speaks volumes when you're looking down at your electronic device when you're supposed to be listening with intent. But that's been your language this whole time during this shutdown, so I'm not surprised. I was going to ask you how you sleep at night or why you would do such a thing, but I know the answer to those questions very easily and because you only care about lining the pockets of your tacky off-the-rack pockets. Before working here, I believed in government. I believed that if someone had a good heart and in a civil servant position, that they would do the right thing. I was very sadly mistaken. Now that the wool has been pulled off, I can now see that government is not for the people, by the people. It is for the rich off of the backs of the people and at the cost of the employment and homes of some of those people. And I thought we were a blue state. Well, I hope you enjoy your new promotion, Alex. She's not here, so I can't congratulate her to her face, but she did get a new promotion, must be nice, as 43 people are losing their jobs. And I hope you consider changing your ways because I would hate to reap what you sow. I do have 3 questions though. Why did you feel the need to outsource the displaced workers program when you were laying off 43 people? Also, why are you now only spending 2024 money, and why are you still raising property taxes? Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Dan Cloak, followed by Athula Abivatva. Is Dan here? Is Athula here? Yeah. Take your time, but come on up. And then our next speaker will be Greg Copeland. Just a reminder for speakers, please state your name when you begin, followed and include your city of residence. If you have joined us in the last few minutes, remember there's still an opportunity to speak tonight, and you can sign up by stopping at our welcome and registration table.
Can I speak now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, my name is Atul Abiratna. I am here with my wife Kaushalya. We have lived in South Maplewood over 33 years at the same location, same address. We are here to express our deep frustration and concern about the steep rise in property taxes on our primary residence, especially from 2019 through 2025, as well as proposed increase in 2026. Our taxes have gone up nearly every year, but the pace in recent years has been especially troubling. In 2019, we paid $5,618. Proposed tax amount for 2026 is $7,988, which translates to annualized rate of increase 5.16%. This is way above cost of living adjustment because we both are retired, live on fixed income, so it matters. Cost of living adjustment provided by Social Security Administration translate to annualized rate of increase of 3.73%. And US inflation rate, consumer price index, average about 3.78%. The private sector wage growth in the Twin Cities metro is about 4.23%. You can see that 5.16% rate of increase is way above all of those. These property tax increases far exceed cost of living adjustment, inflation, and wage growth in the private sector across the Twin Cities at this pace. At this pace, it will become financially unsustainable for many families, especially retirees and middle-income households, remain in Maplewood and Ramsey County. We urge Ramsey County and City of Maplewood to adopt stronger cost control measures, improve operational efficiency, and limit wage increases for city and county employees to level that align with inflation. Families must live within their means, and we expect our local governments to do the same rather than placing a growing burden on homeowners. Despite these significant tax increases, we have not observed noticeable improvements in services provided to South Maplewood residents. As a middle-class neighborhood, we find it difficult to justify these escalating taxes, which may also discourage potential home buyers and negatively affect property values. As retirees on fixed income, these increases place a growing strain on us. We respectfully ask you to consider the proposed 2026 increase and to implement meaningful tax relief measures so residents can continue to live in Maplewood without fear of being priced out of their own homes. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Greg Copeland, followed by Dale Johnson. Thank you.
Greg Copeland. Luckily, I live over there on the east side with the real people who get up and go to work every day. And then there's some of us that got retired because we got to be 71. You know, I'm a former city manager at Maplewood, and I feel for some of you folks from Maplewood. If there's anybody out there that wants a city manager that froze taxes the first year he worked there, cut taxes the second year, increased the number of policemen, got the first code enforcement officer on board, and did a bunch of other great things, give me a call. But we're not here to promote me, are we? No. We're here because, you know, I showed up in September when this group of fine elected officials decided to give themselves a pay raise. I came down and objected to that pay raise. I was the only citizen here. It's great to be taking notes of all you folks that aren't happy with what these folks are doing. And as far as cuts go, you know, I got the newspaper today and Pioneer Press, big stories. You know, all the figures in that story were exactly the same figures that were taken down by the reporter on the September 24 edition when this board decided to set the max levy at the current 975. They've had 12 weeks to make cuts. Why are we talking? Why is this administrator telling you, well, there's good news coming? You know what? We shouldn't have to wait till the last minute and then they take a little barometer, see how many people show up. We deserve a government that works for less, a lot less. Now, I understand that when you're getting paid, oh, let me get to the right sheet here. Oh, yes, it's $10,000 more since 2022. Did anybody get a $10,000 raise like that? Plus a $7,000 expense account. So they're making $107,000, $199. Let me get that extra $199 in there. That's January 1. That's your money. You know, each of you commissioners should take some responsibility and take an area of the budget and come up with what? How about 3% cuts at least? You know, I'm on Social Security, 2.8% increase. These guys got a monthly increase of $258 and change.
30 seconds.
Some of us are out there for a lot less than the average, which was $52. Plus, the Medicare payments are going up. You know that. Record increase this year. Okay, that's my personal deal. But you know what, folks? This county's bigger than these people here tonight. And you folks are expected to show some leadership for a change. For a change, you don't have to listen to the staff. And I'm a former staff guy, but honest to God, take some responsibility and cut these costs. It is outrageous to taxes like this. In St. Paul,
You're at time.
The average house is going way out of line here. And if the DFL thinks that the new definition
you're beyond
of affordability is what you're doing tonight, keep on doing it, because you know what? There will be a day of reckoning.
Greg, I'm going to stop you there.
All right, I'll stop. Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Dale Johnson, followed by Mike Trenod. Mike, why don't you come on up, and if Dale's here, they can also make their way forward. Thanks, Mike.
My name is Mike Trenda. I live in Maplewood, have been a Ramsey County resident for over 46 years. This is my first time down speaking, and I don't have a nice written little speech like a lot of people do, but I am a retired carpenter, okay? I have Social Security. I get a 2.8% increase in my Social Security. Okay, that's the rate of inflation, or so they say. I think that Ramsey County, I realize you've had cuts from the federal government, but maybe we need to cut things. Maybe this property tax rate or your budget rate should only go up 2.8%, the same as the rest of ours is. You know, we have to live within our means. You not only get property taxes, every time I buy something in this county, I get taxed on that too. So it's not just one, tax revenue. You have multiple revenues. My rate on my house went up 10.85%. Okay, total. There's a school levy in there and everything else, but my tax rate is 10.85%. That's way above the rate of inflation and way above the amount of money I'm getting. I am being taxed right out of my home. You raise the value of my house every year, and that helps the taxes go up and up and up. It's just, something's got to give. Maybe all these programs, or some of these programs that we had back when times were flush and back when times were good, and we had the money to fund those programs, that's wonderful. Now, if we don't have the money to fund those programs, maybe some of those programs need to go away or to be cut back. And I'm not talking about the libraries. It always seems that they go for the things that everybody loves the most. It's like the schools. Well, we're going to cut out the music programs. You know, why? Because that's what everybody's going to object to. Same thing with the libraries.
About 30 seconds.
Yep. We need, or you need to take a look at where all this money is going and make a budget the same as the rest of us in this county have to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Clerk Gang, you're just resetting our mics for us. Thank you for that. Stephen Sugarman, you are up next, and I'll go back one name to Dale Johnson. Otherwise, following Stephen, we will have Jerome, could be Grether, perhaps. Thank you.
Well, it does my heart good to hear what you people are saying tonight. Yeah, that's what we need.
Could we have your name
I am
and
here
city of residence,
because
please?
I live in Ramsey County, I live in St. Paul. And when we moved into our house in 1990, our taxes were roughly $1,800. Relatively reasonable, easy to pay. Now our taxes are $5,550. We would have to put aside $548 a month to have that money available to us when it came time to pay the taxes. My check from Social Security is $540. So I would be short roughly 18 bucks. The tax rate is impossible. And I'm not leaving my house. I got to tell you that. What I would rather see happen in Ramsey County, or maybe even in the state of Minnesota, is I want to see a Proposition 13 pass here through a referendum. And all of you should be looking this up, because Proposition 13 was an incredible shift. It would take all those decisions about your rates of increase and your levies away from you. You would have no choice. And the levies would come from the proposition itself, from the law itself. And that is where I'm going, because I'm sick and tired of hearing you spend $334 million on a bus line that goes out to 3M that runs empty. And I'm sick and tired of hearing about the money it took from the $770 million that was destined for Riverview for a streetcar that you took and you split up into multiple payments, which only about $2 or $3 million went to transit. So you guys need to think hard and heavy about what you're doing to the people of this city, because this isn't going to last. And propositions like what happened in California came from the same anger that I heard in this room tonight. And it will come if you don't change your ways, audit yourselves, publish the audits, and let people know that you're doing something about it. Thank you.
Thank you. It sounded like Jerome was here. We'll have Jerome come forward, and then our next speaker in the queue will be Aaron Hoska. If you're here wishing to speak and haven't signed up, I'll ask you to please step out to the lobby and do so. Otherwise, Jerome, you're up.
Jerome Gettlers, lifelong resident of St. Paul. Government tells us that owning a home is the American dream. We don't think so anymore. It's just another vehicle to collect money from us, our hard work dollars. 50 years ago, Congress passed a law that private business can start a 401k instead of give pensions. But only 18% of Americans have pensions from their business. But you all probably have very lucrative pensions that we fund. When do we get to take a vacation or retirement? We get to work 70 years, 50 years, just so you guys can live your best life. I've been working since I was 17. I went through the minimum wage jobs. I built what I have through hard work and hard knocks. When you look around the neighborhood, I've lived in my St. Paul my whole life. And when you see a business leave and Public Storage move in because they're the only ones that can pay for your taxes, the jobs go with it, the services go with it, and then we just have minimum wage jobs, and you pat yourself on the back for saying you raised the minimum wage, but the biggest benefactor of minimum wage increases is government. Social Security gets 125% increase, where the guy making minimum wage gets 65% from $9 to $15. And then you eliminate these jobs by automating these jobs away. It's not made to support a family. It's made to train young workers. But you eliminate those jobs by hyperinflating the cost of these jobs. I'm sorry, I'm not a public speaker, but it just seems like the private property owners are on the hook for all failed government policy, healthcare, the economy, the environment, and we can't take it. When is it our turn? If I remodel my house, I work all day, I come home, I fix my house, you tax it more. I can't enjoy it. It doesn't make sense that when I first moved into my house in 1988, I was proud of myself. 30 years old, I bought a house. It was the worst thing I could ever do, was be in your county and in St. Paul. I have a house that's built in 1910. It's impossible to keep up for me. All it takes is time and money. Well, we got no time because we're working 2 jobs, 3 jobs. It has to end somewhere. We're broke.
You are at time.
Healthcare is out of control, and we pay for ours and yours. We pay for insurance that doesn't pay for anything until you pay thousands more. You have to do something better than this.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Aaron Haska, followed by Jagdeep Singh. Aaron?
Good evening. My name's Aaron Haska. I live in Roseville. I never thought in a million years I would live in Roseville, but thank my wife for that. She grew up in Roseville, and we chose to raise our family there, and we want to add on to our house and invest in our community, but I don't know if we can afford to do that anytime soon. I would like to be the first to congratulate the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners on cracking the code on the magic behind necromancy. I personally cannot wait for the new seasons of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, hosted by the freshly dug up and reanimated Robin Leach, to come by my neighborhood for taping. Surely the modest mix of homes in the neighborhood surrounding St. Rose Church, where I live, built in the mid to late 1950s, is doing something right, and we are all living outside of our means. My house alone is gaining nearly $33,000 in value for this next year, despite making precisely 0 improvements. Ramsey County thinks that I have lavish grounds and a palatial estate, apparently, but that is not the case. This increase in value has caused my proposed property tax bill to rise 15.35%. I'm only 45, and Lord willing, I still have many years of working and generating income to go. But what does this look like later on when I'm retired and on a fixed income? While I may have champagne wishes and caviar dreams, I certainly don't have the backing of an entire county's tax base to fund my wants and desires, as my income is not magically increasing by 15%. I do not know where the county is generating home values. Whatever drive-by appraisals your tax board has conducted do not get any sort of fidelity or accuracy that is based in reality. The value of my home seems to magically match the figure Zillow shows online, so it seems that someone is plagiarizing someone else's work. I'm not just here for myself, I'm here to advocate for my neighbors. I have many retired neighbors around me on my block. One pair of neighbors, they've had a home value stay the same for next year. They see an increase of a mere 4.5%, reasonable and in line with inflation. 2 separate pairs of neighbors, all 4 members of these households are retired. They're seeing values spike, also with 0 improvements made, but their increases are 10.5% and 16%. They're all on fixed incomes and have to further stretch out retirement savings just to continue to stay in their own homes. As we've been asked tonight, when does this end? Property taxes have increased every single year from when I moved to Roseville in 2015 to now.
30 seconds.
If I have to be responsible and budget appropriately for my own household, why can't the county? As I said earlier, my income isn't increasing 15% next year. If funds are spent on items or groups that are outside of the basic functions of government, you need to have metrics for performance and not be afraid to cut spending if standards or goals aren't met. It's time to stop funding and finding frivolous wants and pet projects and return this county to some semblance of fiscal responsibility. Thank you for your time this evening, and thank you to Mr. Stoss for shining a light on some of the spending in this county that not many people were aware of. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jagdeep Singh, followed by Brandon Foxworth.
Hi, my name is Jagdeep Singh. I'm a long-time resident of Ramsey County. I live in Shoreview, and this is my first time here. And I'm here to have the frustration of, coming down here after the work. I didn't get to see my children because I thought this was important to raise our voices. And I was made aware that at the Ramsey County Board meeting last week, Sheriff Fletcher was grilled about his budget overrun due to overtime pay. Why? Should have planned properly so that, you should not have budget overrun, right? That's how we do at our home, at our offices, everywhere. And then during the discussion, the new deputy county manager, Alex Cortze, was asked about the contingency fund and how much money is in the fund. The contingency fund is like a saving account for the county and is supposed to be used for emergencies or rainy day. She revealed that there is over $250 million sitting in that fund. She also said that this is twice as much money in that account that is required. So you guys are sitting on a $125 million contingency fund that you could have used to, in this economic conditions that we all are suffering. I'm working for a private international multinational company. My company did not give me a raise, like 0% raise this year. And now I got the property tax notice. It's like almost 12%, 11.92%. And guess what? What you guys did, you had a mailer saying that, oh, by the way, if your property tax has been raised by more than 12%, you are eligible for a property tax refund. And you guys gamed the system with like 11.92% so that I get cut off from that, thing. So why, right? So, and then the almost 10% levy that is being proposed for the 2026 is about $40 million, right? So you guys have a lot of money already sitting. Why aren't you adapting to the changing needs? I see everyone here is frustrated about the increase. I don't see any company or anywhere else except for the insurance and property taxes that are being raised in double digits.
Got about 30 seconds.
And why aren't you adapting to the changing environment by staying lean during the hard economic times, just like everyone is feeling? You need to adapt and learn and get the return on investments and see between nice to have, must have, as many people suggested. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Brandon Foxworth, followed by Tom. I don't have a last name for Tom, just Tom. Brandon.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Brandon Foxworth. I've lived in Maplewood since 2017. I don't have any prepared remarks, but I did come to uplift the voices that you've heard from people telling you that these property taxes don't work. You will price people out of their homes, period, full stop. I recognize there are external factors at play that are forcing difficult budget decisions. I hear that. I feel that. I live it. Again, these numbers don't work. These increases are untenable. Property taxes are not an inexhaustible well to which you can always return whenever going gets tough. I'm sorry, you need to look elsewhere.
Thank you. Was there someone here that signed in just as Tom? And if so, please step up. Otherwise, we'll go to Heather Reese, followed by Judy Alcott. Heather? Great. Heather, it's all yours.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Heather Ritchie, and I'm a resident here in Ramsey County. I've lived here all my life. I live on the east side of St. Paul, and I purchased my home in 2021. I actually purchased it from a family member that has lived in Ramsey County before passing away for 86 years. The changes I have seen in my neighborhood, in my area, and in St. Paul have not been great improvements. Things have been sustainable at times, but it's really, it's not a glorious area that I live in for the property tax increases. I will be taxed out of my house eventually. A family-owned home, 118 years old. I can't make improvements as well, or I won't be able to afford to stay there, because that'll just make my property taxes go up again. My property taxes have gone up $2,500 since I've been there. I make good money. I make decent money, I guess, and I still cannot afford to be in my home. I'm a nurse. I work for the state of Minnesota. Should be able to survive. You know, healthcare is a whole different monster. I actually work in treatment, substance use treatment. That's a whole different monster there too. We're not doing well in St. Paul. We're not doing well in the state of Minnesota in a lot of areas. I'm glad that I got to go later than other people, because I really, you know, there's a lot I don't know about, a lot of things I'm learning, really appalled by how things are being budgeted. There is so much investigation in DHS right now in the types of areas that I work in. Working in healthcare, we're constantly scrutinized, we're constantly budgeted or audited. The same thing should be happening here. I can't believe there's no auditing happening. That is insane. Why do I have to have my job audited all the time, my work performance, everything like that, and nobody gets to do that with where our money's going? My 11-year-old daughter, she's nervous about the libraries. We use her services like that. She's got special needs. We need those special services in school. I can't have those go away. I cannot afford a tutor. I go to the library, she gets tutored. I can't afford that because I'm paying property taxes. It's just insane. My raises do not match anywhere near what is happening. The economy is in a hole. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of what's going on in this area. I'm ashamed of all these things that are happening. You know, we can't give anymore. I agree with everything everybody's saying. We can't give anymore. Something has to happen. Definitely auditing has to be done. People have to be able to survive. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Judy Alcott, followed by John Johnson.
My name is Judy Alcott, and I live in St. Anthony Village. I don't have any prepared remarks either. This is the first time I've attended something like this and wasn't aware that that was the kind of way to go. And I did come with a lot of questions, and I understand that those won't be answered tonight, but I'm going to give you my questions so that you can think about them and maybe make other people aware, because I wasn't. I just learned a few weeks ago that included in our property taxes are a lot of grants to NGOs. And I had no clue. I'm 81 years old and paid taxes for a zillion years, and I thought our taxes covered police and libraries and streets and all those kinds of things. But I was never aware that we were giving grants to various organizations. I checked with several neighbors, with friends. Nobody knew that. So for one thing, I think that's something that needs to be made very public to everybody, and to whom those grants are given, and the amounts. For example, I was able to find out some of the grants that were given in 2025. One was to the St. Paul Yacht Club. Well, I thought, okay, what does that have to do with my property taxes? St. Paul Yacht Club probably has a heck of a lot more money than I do, and I'm not sure why they would be getting a grant. Another was to the University of St. Thomas. They have an endowment of almost $700 million, so I'm not sure why we would be paying St. Thomas either. These are good organizations, but I'm not sure why my property taxes have to be included to pay these people. There were several that received well over $1 million. going through that list, it just was surprising to me. One was called the Nexus Mille Lacs Family Healing. Mille Lacs is quite a distance from St. Paul. Been there many times, beautiful area and lake, but there were a lot of things on here that just did not make sense to me. When we hear now daily about the multitude of fraud that has been going on in Minnesota for a number of years, I wondered, how are these grants monitored? Who decides who is getting what amount of money? Are they vetted? Are they then monitored so that the money, we know that the money is being spent for what it said? And why isn't it published? Why isn't it made public to everybody so that we know? It's certainly not on my tax statement.
You're at time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Judy. And before John steps up, I'll just remind us that in addition to our commissioners and county manager listening this evening, we do have some staff who are listening and preparing to answer those general questions and themes that are coming up in the comments tonight. And we'll post answers to those on our website. You likely have that URL on your informational sheet, but the web address is ramseycountymn.gov/budget. That's the spot to look in the near future. John is going to begin in just a moment, followed by Bev Farner. John.
Chairman Ortega, Commissioners, my name is John Johnson. I live in the city of White Bear Lake. I had a 39-year career with Ramsey County, so I recognize the difficulty of balancing the perceived needs of the county as the county board sees them and the taxpayer's ability to pay. Tonight I'm here to talk about taxpayers' ability to pay. 32 years ago, my wife and I, who were both working hard at good jobs at the time, were able to buy a house on White Bear Lake. It was old, it needed fixing up, and it was a reach, but we did it and we made it work. Now I'm old, retired, widowed, and would like to live out my years as long as I can in the house that my wife and I shared. But recent increases in my property taxes are making that challenging. For 2026, my taxes are proposed to be increased by 26.69% over 2025. Ramsey County's share of that increase is going up by 36.77%. My estimated market value has gone up by 20.25%. The county's proposed tax levy increase on the form that I received is 9.75%. It's very difficult for me to reconcile the discrepancies in those figures. I'm sure that county staff could show me the arithmetic that results in those figures, but that does not mean that they make sense. These increases continue a pattern that has gone on for the last 3 years that has resulted in a 105.83% increase in my property taxes over a 3-year period. From $10,488 in 2023 to a proposed $21,588 in 2026. If this trend continues, you will tax me out of my house. I'm not eligible for tax deferral, and the property tax refunds I have received, while appreciated and helpful, do not solve my problem. I've been fortunate to live where I do and recognize that I may not be a sympathetic figure, but forcing people out of their homes via the tax code, regardless of their circumstances, is bad public policy. Something needs to change. Thank you.
Thank you. Beth? As our next speaker steps forward, the speaker following is Udoka Afuedo, followed by Ken Martin. Beth.
Hi, my name is Beverly Farraher. I'm a resident of White Bear Lake. I've been a resident of Ramsey County for 62 years. Guess my age. So, the reason I'm up here is I am not thrilled about my 19% increase in Ramsey County taxes alone. but I appreciate I have abilities to pay for that. I have abilities to challenge the valuation of my home, and I can go for the refund. I get that. So what I'm here to do is to try to help you understand, because in your role, I think you frequently get yelled at and people get angry with you, and you must, out of necessity to survive, build a callus of hearing people and understanding what they're getting at. So I just want to share with you that I hear a lot of anger, and I exhort you to consider very deeply what you just shared. It was amazing that you shared it right before I came up here. But to make sure that you're hearing what people are saying, what they are demanding, and you take action to make sure you get all that analysis and response on the website and in every format you can possibly get it out in, so that people know that you hear them and you're trying to do that analysis and you're making decisions, because the retribution potential I hear is phenomenal. So I want to make sure you think about that hard. Thank you.
Thank you. Udoka? After Udoka, our next speaker will be Ken Martin, followed by Cassie Heyman.
Good evening. My name is Udoka, and I'm the owner of. I live in St. Paul, actually, and thank you guys for being here, and thank you guys for your work as well. I'm here tonight because the proposed 2026 valuation and tax estimate assigned to my property is not supported by market reality and professional evidence. Ramsey County increased my estimated value from $343,000 to $461,000, a jump of $118,000 in 1 year, with no renovations, no added square footage, and no major improvements. As a direct result of this valuation, my homestead exclusion collapsed from $15,987 to only $4,979, instantly increasing my taxable market value by over $129,000, which is about 40%. So I heard a lot about 11, 12%. Mine was 40%. I have a licensed professional appraisal 2 months after the state's valuation date, showing my property is worth approximately $325,000, not $461,000. This is real evidence, unlike the method which never inspected my property and does not reflect its true condition and its deferred maintenance. This raises serious concerns about transparency, fairness, and the accuracy of Ramsey County's valuation model. So I have several questions I would like answered on the record. Number one, what specific comparable sales were used to justify a valuation increase of $129,000 in a single year? Number two, why did the county apply a valuation level that eliminated most of my homestead exclusion when the property was not materially changed? Number three, why was the county's valuation model allowed to override verifiable property-specific facts such as condition, rental restrictions, and income? Number four, which is the last one, what accountability measures are in place to correct valuation errors for homeowners who cannot afford an appraisal, legal representation, or paid appeals? Tonight, I'm asking Ramsey County to acknowledge that this valuation is unsupported and to correct it so my 2026 taxes reflect through market value, not an inflated algorithm. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ken Martin, followed by Cassie Heyman. Cassie, you might be up unless Ken is here. Ken is here. Come on up.
Hello, I'm Ken Martin. I live in Little Canada 6 years, in the east side of St. Paul for 20 years before that. So I've been here a little while. I have never done anything like this before, and my heart's pounding and all this stuff. But it seems crazy to me to raise this right now. I can handle it. Like, I make decent money and I can do that. But it might end up that it's like, why would I? Why would I stay here? It's expensive in Ramsey County. It's expensive in Minnesota. It's kind of like you're asking me to leave. So there's a sense in which like maybe that ends up being what I need to do at some point, which would be really hard because I have a lot of family here and stuff. But actually why I'm here is more for my family. I've got a bunch of kids. They've got jobs. They're old enough to start to buy a house. You're like making it by raising this sea level more expensive for them to try to get into their first house with housing prices way up and everything else. And it's not only housing prices now, but now we're saying, but by the way, more every month, plan on that for taxes. That's huge. But like it literally has made my kids sad to talk about. They're like, we can never have what you have, Dad. You got lucky. I probably did. It's a really, really bad idea. In fact, I think it really should be, if you're going to consider something, flip it on its head. What are we doing making it, like I hear, there's so many people here prepared and they know the numbers. My wife does the numbers. I don't know any of that. That, like, you're pricing them out of their homes. They should be able to move into a home and say, okay, this is my value. This is my price. This is my taxes until I leave. And the next buyer has a new price. And they have a contract with you. And then they pay that forever. And now you know what your budget is. And now they know what their budget is. Because that's how we all live. And so I don't get this idea that we can sneak in and say, no, we're just gonna raise that up. And we're gonna raise up the cost of your house? Just like, oh, look, it's magically more valuable. I woke up in the same house I did yesterday. These changes are making it very uneasy for just a regular person to plan and live a regular life. And I just don't think that's nice. Minnesota nice? That's not nice. I think we should give them something stable. I think we should know what's going on, count on it, and commit to it. And I know that must make your job really hard because you got people coming to you saying, I need this, I need that. So I got these terrible glasses. I wore them so I could see your faces. 2-year-old prescription. I should just get them replaced. Instead of spending $200, I'm going to get gifts for my kids for $200. That's the kind of thing that you do. That's the kind of thing you'll have to do. I'm going to have the lousy glasses for a while to do the better thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Cassie. In a moment, our next speaker is Cassie Heyman, followed by Colton Green. Cassie.
Hi, my name is Cassie, former resident of North St. Paul, also a library worker. I am speaking today on behalf of Ramsey County Public Libraries, as well as county workers across Ramsey County. We have all felt this strain and pressure of understaffing. And I have seen it with the library. I've heard from my fellow union workers. We have fought for staffing at the bargaining table. We got a countywide LMC that has only met once this year. And I am just speaking on behalf of us to share that we need support, and we need support to put our residents first. And without staff, how can we do that? You have, in the proposed budget, are closing the entire detox and withdrawal unit, included in the 43 layoffs of filled positions. And what concerns me is that 110 added full-time equivalents, including a deputy county manager, 5 admin directors, 5 planning specialists, and executive assistant. I have looked at the numbers, and it's all public information how much wages are across the county, from the library pages who were making $15.50 an hour just a year and a half ago to the deputy county manager who will be making $70 plus an hour, maybe even more. These library staff, these hardworking library assistants, they have shelved 3 million materials by hand every year. 3 million. And they make less than $20 an hour. And in this proposed budget, the library is losing 5 full-time equivalent of some of the lowest paid workers in the county, and it hurts. It hurts. Our workers want to feel respected. Our public, they are very patient, most of them, and they know we're compassionate. We care about digital literacy. We want to have computer classes, but how can we with this lack of staff?
Got about 30 seconds.
Okay. We just want staffing. We're not even asking for more money. We just want the staff and the ability to give the public valuable experience, the experience they need, career services, tech help. We do so much for them, children's programming. These cuts, they're gonna hit. We've already been hit with staffing just this year.
You're at time.
Thank you. I hope you can consider.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Colton Green.
Hello, my name is Colton Green. I've been in St. Paul for only a year. My house is going up by first year went up by $300. This year, $800. Last year I paid $28. Now I'm going up to $3,000. What is going on? I have to work 60, 70 hours a week. I've had this house for a little over a year. Where's all my money going? Last time I had a vacation was Iraq. I had to go get shot, blown up. You guys probably go on vacation all the time. Where's this money going? America is not the dream anymore because you guys cannot concentrate your funding. You cannot do the bare minimum. Give us transparency. That's all we want. Do something for us. We elected you. You guys are failing at your job. It is depressing. And you want us to keep shoveling money. Help us. That's all we ask. Please help us. That is my time.
Thank you. Madam Chair, we've reached the end of our list of folks wishing to speak, so let me do a couple of calls to make sure we haven't missed anyone in the room with us this evening. Is there anyone here still wishing to make a comment during our hearing? How about on the other side of the room?
Don't be bashful.
We'll do one last call. Is there anyone else here to speak regarding the proposed Ramsey County 2026-2027 proposed budget? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Chair, I'll declare our public hearing now closed. Thank you very much to everyone who made a comment this evening.
Okay, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped.